Wait till you see this. This is the most beautiful thing. That right there.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
That's a Ward 8. It was reportedly created in 1898 in Boston to celebrate the election of one Martin M. Lomasny to the state legislature. So it's a drink celebrating the career of a corrupt politician. And you've got what?
I got a Milanese Negroni. Milanese because it's prepared in a shaker and served without, like, not served on the rocks. Normally a Negroni would be served on the rocks. Also, it's got double the amount of gin.
Well, you're prepared. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. What time is it where you are?
It is 7 minutes past 5 p.m.
In the afternoon.
In the afternoon.
It's 9:07 a.m. I don't know. I don't know if this is a good idea or not. I did have some breakfast. I didn't want to day drink on a completely empty stomach.
It's definitely a good idea. Have you seen the state of the world?
Yes, fair point. Fair point.
So we are here to discuss how happy we are creatively with our podcast.
Yes.
And B, how we get more people to listen to it. I am very happy with our podcast, Imagination and Junk.
Where is it available, by the way?
Oh, it's available wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay.
iTunes and other places.
Stitcher, Google, Audible, Amazon. I think.
Are we on? What's?
I think a couple of those are made up. I'm not sure.
Right. Okay. Scratcher.
Scratcher.
What's the green one? You know, the green one that has music and podcasts. Spotify. Experienced professional
podcasters, Matt Ricardo and Phil Barol. What's the green one?
The green one.
We're on the green one.
We're on the green one.
Yeah, can I, by the way, just I don't want to digress too much, but can we talk about your shirt for a second?
Do you like my shirt?
Your shirt is fantastic.
My only feeling about the shirt, I like the shirt very much, but it feels like it might be a fun shirt.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There's a difference.
Wacky.
There's a difference between a fun shirt and a fun shirt.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's on the line.
Yeah. Well, I like it. It's not over the line for me. Before we get back to the podcast, question for you.
Yes.
How are my skin tones? Would you describe my skin tones as even?
Yes. It feels like you're asking me because you're wearing makeup.
Tinted sunscreen.
Oh, nice.
It's called, Jennifer gave it to me. My wife Jennifer gave it to me, and it's called Australian Nightmare. I don't know.
Australian Nightmare.
But I don't know. But I find that it evens out my skin tones, and particularly, you know, when I'm having a cocktail, that becomes important when you're going to be on video. But I think it did a nice job.
Very nice.
And we'll get back to the podcast in a second. I used to live in New York years ago, and a friend of mine told me a story about going into Bloomingdale's, and they would have women there demonstrating makeup on the ground floor where the makeup department was. And one day she walked in there, and the makeup department was introducing a new product by Estee Lauder called Beautiful. But this is the way that this woman pitched it. She planted herself squarely in my friend Allison's path, shoved the product in her face, and said, "Try Estee Lauder's Beautiful."
And I sit over there to write and stuff next to the window. So I've got sunburned through my window. Which it's fine.
Uh-huh. Is it a unilateral sunburn coming through your window?
No, it's mainly on my nose. My nose always sunburns first because a long time ago, like 25, 30 maybe years ago, 30 years ago, I was doing a show with somebody else, and it involved fire juggling, of course. And I thought it would be a funny joke, and I stand by this. It is a funny joke to as I was lighting up the flaming torches, I would lean forward. I would talk to the other performer as I was like, my tie would fall out. I would light my tie. That's funny, right?
Funny. That's funny.
So I went to the cheap shop and bought a bunch of ties I could destroy in this way for a series of shows, which of course were made of hellishly man-made fibers. So it worked. I leant forward, I looked, got distracted, theatrically distracted, lit the tie instead of the torches. I hadn't planned how to get out of the situation where there's a thing tied around your neck that is on fire.
Burning toward you.
Burning toward you, up, because flames go up. So I sort of stood up, did the kind of, huh? You know, got the laugh, lovely, realized I was on fire. So I took off the tie and kind of did that to kind of put it out, did this, which just made it kind of become a cloud of little bits of molten tie, a big one of which landed on the end of my nose. I turned to my performing partner, who wet himself laughing because my nose was on fire.
But you got the laugh.
One of a series of occasions when I've suffered to get either a laugh or a story, you know?
By the way, you know what you need with that little spot on the tip of your nose?
What?
Australian surprise.
Now it's Australian surprise.
Is that not what it's called? I don't.
Well, you said it was Australian nightmare.
Oh.
But both of those things sound like a spider. I think I'm right in saying this. The big spiders, which are called Huntsman, which are like this big, they are responsible for more deaths because they hide in the sun visor on the windscreen of your car.
Oh no! Oh, this is
driving. They drop down, you freak out, and you crash, and that's most of the fatalities from spiders.
And the amazing thing is that over millions of years of evolution, they have worked that out. I had an interesting conversation with a friend of mine who said, my friend Jeff Kisseloff, a fan of the podcast, fan of yours in particular. I've known him forever, but all he can talk about is Matt. It's becoming a little tiresome.
That feels weird, but I like it.
Take it. Yeah. He asked me a sort of interesting, pertinent question, I thought, which is, what are you in this for? What's the metric for you? Is it to do something beautiful, something you're proud of, or is it to do something beautiful that you're proud of that attracts low double-digit millions of people, as we currently do? What's the? And I have to confess, I struggle with that.
I think what we want primarily is to make something of worth, make something that we are happy with, that we can walk away from and go, well, we made that, and it's good. It's good, you know. And it comes from us, and it's got a bit of our soul in it and a bit of our brains in it, and you know, and anyone that watches it, you know, regardless of whether that's a million billion people or one person, if they like it, great. But I think being human, we are pathetic and fragile. So the more people watch it, the more we believe we've done that.
Right.
Watch it, listen to it. It's a podcast. You don't watch it. So I think it's only natural to want, you know, a bit of both. You want to make something beautiful, but also you want to attract as many people as you can because you like what you've made and you want the world to see it and you want them to agree with you that it's good.
Yeah. And I think the only thing I would add to that is to say I think you said you want to find as many people as you can. And I think for something like ours, that may not be a ton of people by the standards of the podcast world, and you and I have had this discussion before, my hope for this show is that it finds its natural audience, whatever that natural audience might be. And it might be relatively small by the standards of the podcast world or the podcast space.
Oh,
I believe they say. I've been reading podcast news, so I know now to say things like in the podcast space.
In the online audio sphere.
Yes. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've run out of booze.
Oh no, poor planning on your part.
It's okay. I'm migrating to double espresso.
Excellent.
That'll be what they call in the military a force multiplier on the booze.
Here's my question about that. How had you not thought your way through to the inevitable end of the bit where you were going to have to separate yourself from the flaming material attached to your body?
Well, I can answer that question. Midway through, before that happens, was the laugh.
Mm-hmm.
So anything past the laugh, I wasn't concerned with. The laugh had happened. Move on. You know.
On to the next thing that's going to get you a laugh.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's one of a litany of things I've done that have got a laugh, but also nearly killed me.
How many times did you do the setting yourself on fire bit?
Oh, once, just once. Yeah.
You know, sometimes people ask me for advice about cocktails. Do you know what I tell them?
What do you tell them?
Spend the money on Luxardo cherries. And I don't think we're any closer to figuring out how to get people to listen to our podcast.
On the day of my wedding,
Oh,
I was drinking a mojito during the reception, and you know how sometimes like usually sneezes, you feel them coming, but occasionally they just go boom, boom out of nowhere, right? So I had one of those. I was midway through drinking and I sneezed, and then I looked down and the entire drink was gone. And it was inside my head. And I was drowning. So I was sitting there going, literally drowning at my own wedding reception.
Your sinuses filled with mojito.
Yes. So I had to go to the bathroom and kind of push it out through my eyes and my nose, which was not pleasant.
Yeah.
But
Plus, the fact that you've got the wedding photographer right there the whole time, which is
the whole time.
Yeah. So have I mentioned that it is 9 o'clock in the morning here?
Well, not now. It's now 9:38. That's virtually lunchtime.
So here's what I think.
Yes.
I think that it is there 5:38 in the afternoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Once again, we run into a time difference thing here. I am. This definitely constitutes day drinking. Having a war date at 9:38 in the morning, I would call that day drinking. What you're doing, I would just call cocktail hour.
Yeah, if I was Italian, then having a cocktail to ease from the afternoon into the evening, which is around about now, that would be fine.
Yeah.
I'm not Italian, but I do have a fake Italian stage name, which is close enough. I am faux Italian.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is next time we do this, assuming there is a next time, and God, I can't imagine why there would be. In order to achieve day drinking parity, I'm thinking we should do it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, my time, which would be 1 a.m. your time. Come on, fair.
Sold.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you'll be up in the middle of the night, and I'll be having a cocktail at a decent, appropriate hour for a normal human being to do.
And it's fine for me because the worst the cocktail will do at that hour is put me to sleep. That's fine.
Perfect.
So, I mean, we are here to talk about how to get more people to listen to our podcast.
How are we doing with that?
I think we're doing fine.
Okay.
I think we're doing very well. It's a good podcast.
It is a good podcast. People should listen.
People should listen. It's good.
Yeah.
I fell off my scooter a few weeks ago. So I fell off, and as I fell, I hit my finger on the floor, and so I went to the hospital because I'm a juggler. So I need to be overcautious.
Yeah.
And it's fine. I've got full mobility and everything, but look at my middle finger on this one compared to this one. It's shorter.
It is.
It's noticeably shorter.
You drove your middle finger back into your palm.
I know. And it's slightly fatter. So I'm sort of long-term, low-key freaking out about this.
Well, I'm out.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And you're gonna cut around all this stuff, right? You're gonna.
Oh, this is live. We're streaming.
Oh, golly. Jeez.
Yeah. So, in closing, you should subscribe to Imagination and Junk.
Yes.
Yes.
You should.
Please. We should be polite. Please.
Imaginationandjunk.com or at Apple, Stitcher, the green one.
The green one.
green one.
Scratcher,
Scratch.
Saucepan, Hat Rack,
Amazon and Audible, which through corporate synergy are apparently the same thing, but
Corporate Synergy.
get it at both places. And wherever you get your podcast.
And if you like it, tell your friends.
Tell your friends and fluff the algorithm, if you would.
Fluff the algorithm.
Yes, be an algorithm fluffer. All right, my friend.
Okay.
Good to see you.
You too.
Take
Take
care.
care. Bye.
Cheers.